Hidden above the village of Menston sits one of Yorkshire's once most fascinating abandoned places. High Royds mental asylum once held more than 2,000 patients and was so large it had its own farm, bakery and even its own railway. I visited here multiple times over the years, and every time I went it felt like stepping back in time. High Royds opened in 1888 and was opened as a West Riding pauper lunatic asylum and was designed to be entirely self-sufficient. Had its own bakery, dairy, farm, cobbler, workshops, library and even a shop. Patients were encouraged to work there to keep the place running. It wasn't just a hospital, it was practically a small town hidden away from the rest of the world. So I'd heard about the place quite a few times in the past, for some reason never really wanted to visit. A friend of mine ended up going, took a couple of shots and it still didn't grab me, and I love asylums as well. I maybe not got the bug for asylums then, but I got friendly with another person who I'd been speaking to about abandoned buildings, and he decided to check this place out on his own, and he went one night. I got a phone call from him in the middle of the night and he's like, I'm in. I'm like, what's going on, where are you, what are you talking about? I was working late at a timber yard at this point. He says, I'm in High Royds. I says, it's midnight. He says, yeah, I've come down at night and there were a window open and we're sat inside, it's proper spooky. I says, alright, well I'm working, I'll catch up with you another time. Anyway, I went down a few days later and sure enough, there were a window open. And like I say, I never really bothered about the place until I went in there and saw the grandness. Now, bearing in mind, a lot of this place had been renovated. I did kind of miss out on this. If it had gone 10-15 years ago, would have seen a lot more. The long corridors, a lot more of the place. It was a huge, like I said, 300-acre site. The bits I did see, which was the old admin building, which is the clock tower at the front, so quite opulent. You can see from the ceilings, the design, the tiles. The mosaic floor, I believe, was Italian tiles, all hand placed on the floor of this place, and that must have been painstaking. And the money that they put into these places, whoever built these places, the same as they did with the old Yorkshire mills, was rich people's way of showing off their wealth. So they did put a lot of money into these places. Like I say, you can see it in the old admin building. Quite a creepy place. Now, let me tell you, I'd heard some stories about this place. In fact, I did an exhibition at a place in Leeds, and the exhibition, the owner of the building, the bar where I did the exhibition, he used to work as a location scout for, I think, ITV. He worked for many different studios, and I believe that they shot a drama on Coronation Street or Emmerdale, something like that, maybe in Coronation Street. Anyway, from what I've read, the actors and actresses had seen quite a lot of unusual things in there. I know the cast and crew wouldn't stay beyond a certain time at night. Security wouldn't enter the building at night. And this guy who gave me this exhibition gave me this place to exhibit my work, he did actually say he saw a body float through a wall, and he says, hands up, I don't believe in stuff like that. He says, I looked down this corridor, he says, I was on my own, I was just returning to my car, he says, and I looked down this corridor, he says, and I saw a nurse in old period clothing. He says she just drifted across this corridor, through a wall, and disappeared. He says that is the only time I've ever seen anything. He says that's why I'm so interested in your work, because you've shown a lot of stuff off from High Royds. So I found that quite fascinating. Don't always fully believe in things like that until I see it, So I see it. Been in many abandoned buildings and you know, never really witnessed anything that other people have in the same building at different times. So maybe it depends on the person. However, this place is creepy. The few times that I did go, there's a vibe. Like, there's a vibe. First couple of times, no, apart from your imagination running wild. Next time I went, we're in there, going down corridors, door banging. Alright, must be some other explorers in here. Obviously someone else has got in there taking photographs. Went round the entire place, few hours, never saw a soul. Alright, we'll just put that down to somebody else then. The next time we went, we had this scuffling about, and like, what's that? And it seemed to be coming from behind a pipe. So we got a bit closer. This little white fluffy cat jumped out, like a little white, pure white fluffy kitten. Jumped out of God knows where, this hole in this pipe, shot down corridor, and like, what was that? And like, every time we went in after that, we saw this little white kitten jumped out on us and legged it down this corridor, and we were telling people about it, and like, I could never get a picture of it. And then this one time we turned a corner, right, Grand Arch, Victorian Asylum, spooky, dusk, dawn time, so it was like low light, and it's just sat right on the end of this corridor. So slowly put my camera on the floor. Didn't have time to get my tripod out and scare it off. Slowly put my camera on the floor, took a picture. Now, as my camera was on the floor, it was picking the focus up, it was picking up like 6 foot in front of me, and this tiny little cat was probably 20-30 foot away from me. So I managed to get one little picture. This is the picture. It's a tiny dot, and the more I zoom in, it don't do it justice. My camera wasn't that good then. I've tried blowing it up as much as I can, not the cat, the pixels, and it just, you know, it's better just viewing it small. The fact that I got it, I was very happy about that. It was very elusive. I almost like to think that it was like the spirit of the place. Nonsense, I know, but it was just a nice little thing that we had, and to get a picture was great. So anyway, we thought they were just the admin building open. We'd done the clock tower, we'd got all the way to the top, we'd taken a picture over the site, which a lot of them are houses now, and then it wasn't till the maybe third visit we just wandered off, and we noticed that there were an old ward that had not been sort of renovated. So it was wide open, so we just went in for a walk around, and apparently it was an old men's ward. So I think it was like a hospital ward. It sure looks like a hospital ward. So we had a good wander around there, so that was nice. We have an admin building now, and then we've got this ward. So I felt like I'd not missed out too much, at least I'd got some extra bit of a bonus in. Next time we went, we find the mortuary in someone's garden, so in someone's back garden, or backed onto someone's garden. Like I said, all these are houses now, most of the site's houses. Backed onto someone's garden is like a small building. The door, the padlock's open on this building. Let's just have a look in there. It's a blooming mortuary. So we went in, explored the mortuary. The slab had been taken out many years ago. More ghoulish type people had wanted to go there, carry on the slab and stuff. Bit weird behaviour, but that's what I'd heard. So they'd taken the slab out a long time ago. So now we've got 3 buildings. We've got the admin, the old men's ward, and the mortuary. The next time, right at the back of the site, there's an old children's ward. Now I don't know if this is true. There might be. I should probably look into it a bit more, but there were some funny goings on, and you know, I don't really know, but this was place were a mess. Like, it really suffered vandals, and because it was right on the edge of the site, it kind of just been left. It's not really any pictures worth taking. It probably beyond what I'd call attractive to photograph. Way beyond paint peel, it would just fall into bits. So we did manage to get four buildings out of it in the end, and another place is fully renovated now. They've just finished the admin building a few years ago, but what a gorgeous place. Now, it would have been back then. I think there were experiments that went on, new therapies that they tested on people, and I know these asylums were horrible places. Used to have put you in asylums for having learning difficulties, for being on your period, for not being able to spell, for having migraines. Like, you know, you can't imagine what it was like in Victorian times. I mean, the only positive I get out of these places is they are horrible places to visit when you think about the people that were there and the people that were inside, and the trapped energy in there. But the buildings are just magnificent, and there's just really none left. I'm glad they've renovated this one. It's kept it in keeping. I won't want to live there. I won't like to think what goes on in some of them houses. However, a lot of these asylums have been pulled down, or they've been left to ruin, and they just get to a certain state where they can pull them down because they're beyond repair. And you're not going to see Victorian asylums 20-30 years from now. They're just not. I think there's a couple left in country. I went to see one of the last remaining ones end of last year. I've got some photographs from that, and I believe there's just one more down south, and it's attached to a working hospital. So I believe when they're gone in the UK, that's it for the Victorian era and asylums. Some of my favourite places, the architecture's stunning, the opulence, no expense spared. Like these mosaic little tiles, there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of them just being hand placed, and it just honestly beggars belief. But have a look at the pictures. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I've got something wrong about the history. Let me know if you like this kind of thing. I've got the other asylum to show off. However, I'll be waiting a little bit longer for that because it's still fresh, and I don't want to really expose the place too much. But yeah, this is one of a series of stories behind the shots. If you like this kind of thing, just press subscribe, and I'll be doing a video every week of my favourite places. There will be some print runs coming off from the series from High Royds. I've got one hanging on my wall. It's been on there for years. It's a big canvas piece, and that's this one here. But if you like anything like this, just get in touch, and I'll be happy to send you some information on the fine art prints I do. Happy viewing, guys. See you next time. Thank you very much.